Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Jack Ford. It's another week where the check is not in the mail. Federal workers around the country will miss another pay cycle as the government shutdown has surpassed the 1-month mark. Desperate to make ends meet, some furloughed workers who never once thought they would need to rely on assistance are now reaching out for help just to feed their families. Long Island alone may see a significant loss in unpaid federal salaries, and the island's economy will certainly suffer. Here with more on how the shutdown is affecting both Nassau and Suffolk counties is Newsday business reporter James T. Medore. James, nice to have you with us.
Nice to be with you.
Let me start off with the notion of Long Island suffering. People think of, okay, Washington, D.C., with all the federal agencies and offices there, the extraordinary number of federal employees who work in the D.C. area. But some folks might look at Long Island and say, why is that so impacted? Tell us a little bit about the federal footprint, if you will, on Long Island.
So 26,000 Long Islanders work for Uncle Sam, according to the most recent census data. They work from everything from the FAA, air traffic controllers, and also security screeners at airports to the large IRS processing facility in Suffolk County. Really, the federal government has a big footprint here on Long Island, and when it's shut down, it has an impact on the economy.
Do we have any idea what percentage of that number that you quoted are the folks who are being furloughed or are told to stay home?
We don't know how many of the 26,000 have been affected. However, we do know that if all of them are working and receiving their paychecks, they receive approximately $28 million a week. So some percentage of that money is not being paid and therefore is not being spent in the local economy.
We can understand the losses to these individuals, and it's terribly painful, and we understand, and certainly we sympathize for them. What about the notion of other businesses, other impacts on the economy?
I spoke with the Long Island Association, which is Long Island's largest business group, and they said small businesses are the ones that are really being affected. These are the mom and pop stores on Main Street, delis, restaurants, laundromats. These are people who are not seeing customers come in, and therefore they're not receiving the revenue they need to keep their doors open.
We've seen a number of videos of the Washington, D.C. area, as you mentioned, cafes and small restaurants and food trucks, and there's literally nobody there. Are some of these businesses we're talking about similarly situated where they rely, if not entirely, significantly on the business that's provided by federal workers?
We spoke with some people who have businesses very near federal installations on Long Island. So, for example, there's a pizzeria near the FAA Air Traffic Control Tower in Ronkonkoma. And they were telling us that normally they would see federal workers coming in 2 and 3 times a week, spending anywhere from $50 to $60 per visit. Now those same federal workers are coming in once every 2 weeks. Another restaurant we interviewed is losing $130 a week. $130 a day, and that adds up over the week, and they said, look, we can't afford to take these losses.
Are we seeing any of the agencies out there on Long Island that are stepping up and trying to provide some assistance to the federal workers?
Yes, we are. Island Harvest, Long Island Cares, a number of our local financial institutions are reaching out both with food and financial assistance. In some cases, bridge loans so people can pay their mortgages. In other cases, mortgage payments being delayed because people don't have paychecks in which to pay their mortgage. But still, it's very difficult. We've heard about federal workers turning to Uber and driving part-time with Uber, or delivering pizzas, or serving as nannies or in childcare. The one thing that's difficult for federal workers is if they moonlight, most occupations, they have to get permission from their employer for them to be able to moonlight. So they're restricted in those second jobs they can take.
So this is a horrible scenario. Basically, we're saying you can't be working at your real job, and there's essentially nobody there to even tell you whether you can go out and do something else in the meantime. So it's a double bind for them, if you will. Let me ask you this, last question for us to talk about. People talk about the notion of this has to end at some point in time. All right, we've got to believe that hopefully, and I'm talking about this from a nonpartisan direction, hopefully reasonable minds to get together on both sides of the aisle and resolve something, get the business up and running. Question then becomes, what's the impact going to be, economic impact? And some people will say it's lasting. Some people say there'll be a snapback and it'll be limited. From your reporting and what you're seeing and the people you're talking to out in your area, what's your sense of what the impact will be?
The economists I've spoken to from Farmingdale State College and the Long Island Association say there are two pictures here. One is we will see a boost in consumer spending once federal workers finally begin to get their paychecks once the shutdown ends. However, there's another group, federal contractors. They're not getting paid and they will have no back pay coming to them. Finally, you have some businesses like restaurants where they've lost out on business. Once the federal worker gets their paycheck again, they're not going to eat double. So restaurants in particular are being hit hard because these meals that aren't being taken, you can't replace them.
I said last question. This is actually my last question for you, and that is this. In your reporting, the people you're talking to, I think the sense was early on, people figured, all right, this will be a blip. It'll be a little bit of time, maybe a week at most, and finally people will get together and get something resolved. We're past a month now. Are you getting any sense in the people you're talking to as to whether or not there's any optimism left in terms of this getting resolved fairly quickly?
Well, the federal workers I talk to, as you might imagine, are very discouraged. And it's important for us to remember that these are good paying jobs. The average wage is $75,400 a year for the Long Islanders who work for the federal government. Those are good paying middle class jobs that you need to live on Long Island. So when you don't get your paycheck, and now we're on the second paycheck that's not going to be coming, people are scared. They're worried about keeping their homes. They're worried about keeping body and soul together.
Well, James, I got a feeling that you and I might be talking a little bit more down the road. Just great reporting by you, and we appreciate you spending some time and sharing what you're finding out there. Thanks so much. Look forward to talking to you again.
Thanks so much.